Hello, everyone. I cannot believe we are kicking off week 3 of the Elevate series. Man, this has just been flying by. We've had over a dozen really high power conversations with multi-industry leaders, CEOs, influencers on what are you seeing out in the market right now? Because there is so much disruption, so much is changing. Where are we going? Like, what do we predict? And how are we taking care of ourselves to grow our resilience and be better and stronger for ourselves, our company, and our family and community around us? And I am super excited to have this conversation with Karl Krummenacher because I met Karl a long time ago. I'll just put it that way. When he was helping to lead JJ Virgin's Mindshare Summit and Mastermind. And, early into my career, I was working with some of the doctors inside of that mastermind, Karl, and I, through them, got to observe you in your zone of genius. And the way that I always looked at you was, that guy is brilliant. He is an extreme strategist. And I just saw the way that you look at people and the way you look at circumstance and opportunity was always really appealing to me. I always had great respect for you back then. So now to be sharing this stage is so fun. Thank you so much for just lending me some time to have this really important conversation.
I love so much talking with you. Last couple of days, we've had some great conversations. Let's have another one.
Yes. Okay. So we kind of have to start with the beginning, which is, what are you observing? I've had a lot of conversations, even with people outside of the Elevate series, as it relates to what we're observing just people wise to, behavior changes to economy, AI, you name it. And I'm curious, you're so plugged in, you have an incredible network. You must have a really interesting vantage point on what's happening. So can you fill us in a little bit? What are you hearing? What are you seeing?
What I see looks a lot like the episode or the section in the movie Airplane.
Okay.
Things are going kind of crazy. And I think there's a character who works in the control tower, and he's like, it's a twister, it's a twister. Everything's kind of all over the place. Look, here's the thing.
Yeah.
It really just depends on your perspective, what you're seeing. Like, you can go to one group of people and what they're seeing is lack. They're seeing, Goldman Sachs reporting that, we could have a significant change or transformation in jobs, job loss, job transfer, newer, different jobs that are being created. You could talk to leaders in the tech space that are responsible for developing the foundation models. People like, Eric Schmidt, former CEO of Google, Elon Musk, Sam Altman, and they'll talk about just the significant advancements that are occurring way faster than Moore's law, the rate of improvement in these models and what AI can do, accelerating far faster than anybody could ever imagine. You could talk to small business owners, some of whom are in a frantic sense of urgency and worry because they're afraid they're going to lose to the competition. They're used to chasing whatever is happening in the moment. They're not used to looking too far ahead, and they're feeling overwhelmed. There's far too many choices. You could talk to old guys like me who at 62 are saying, what an amazing time to be alive. Like, all the things that would cost me as an entrepreneur tremendous amounts of energy in order to pursue ideas that maybe had gotten put on the back burner because who has the time, energy, or funds for that, are suddenly in the midst of new opportunities. So I think that the good news in all of this, Amber, is that I think everybody can pick the perspective that they want to hold. You
100%.
can either hold the circumstance or you can hold the opportunity. And if you choose to live in fear and that's what you focus on, you're going to see all the things that will scare you. If you choose to sit in opportunity and see how these tools will do more to level the playing field. We talk about all the inequities in the world, and this isn't a political discussion anyway, but there have certainly been throughout history periods of inequity. AI ends that effective immediately because anybody with the capacity to ask a question can get a cogent answer. And then with that cogent answer can actually start to collaborate and ideate and work on strategies about a new business venture. So me at 52, I mean, I think I shared with you my story 2 years ago, walked away from everything and did a complete reboot thanks to AI, wound up more than doubling my last previous best salary, working less than 20% of the time, being more effective, having more fun, and able to pursue opportunities that would have been unreachable, unthinkable just 3 to 5 years ago.
How?
So,
How? How? You got to dig into that story a little bit more because that's incredibly appealing. You know, you bulldozed it, you rethought it, you reimagined it, and now you're in such a far greater place. And AI was a big part of that. How did this happen? You got to share the details.
yeah, well, this is a fun story. So, you mentioned JJ. She's my sister from another mister. Absolutely adore JJ. We had an amazing run. From the day I met her, I thought, this is incredible. She's aligned energetically. She's entrepreneurial, leans in, goes forward, very creative. It was an absolute, probably the love of my life was working at Mindshare. And as things happen, we went through a period, you recall COVID hit, and everybody worked a lot harder. People got burned out. I'm not exempt from that. And along that period of time, somebody else came knocking on the door, offering a bright, shiny object, a great opportunity that for me felt like a full circle moment. It was a chance to go back to technology. I do have a tech background. I had a software company back in the mid 80s. We sold it to Digital Equipment Corporation in 1991. That was my first ever exit. And so I've always appreciated technology. I like automation. That company that we had back then was a marketing automation, office automation tool that connected PCs to each other and allowed to automate the sending of documents. So I had this idea back when I was in my late 20s, early 30s, that computers are awesome because they can take the repetitive steps that need to be done and do them for you over and over again. And I got too much ADD to do that on my own. So that support was awesome. And so this full circle moment came, and I was invited to be the guy with the gray hairs and a little bit of wisdom to help this young group of entrepreneurs pursue a very big and bold vision. And it was an enticing vision. It was to create a SaaS venture studio of sorts. And that was all software. And I thought, well, this is kind of full circle. I retired in my 60s. I worked for a few years, but it wasn't a good fit. And so I walked away from that. And now I'm in a situation where everybody that knew me, and I would like to think trusted me, all the health entrepreneurs that we worked with, tens of thousands of them over the years, I wasn't going to pursue those. That wouldn't be right. But I needed to do something. And I liked coaching a lot. I liked consulting. That was fun. And so I was talking to a group of people about this new business model called a CEO advisory. And essentially it's, hey, have a conversation with the CEO once a week to keep them aligned, on track, pursuing the right things, support them with wisdom, experience, give them the confidence to make good decisions. And there are people doing this for $10,000 a month, and they're doing a call a week. I did the math on the back of a napkin. I said, that sounds ridiculous. How do I get into that? But I was immediately worried because, at Mindshare, we had created worksheets and systems. We had all kinds of tools and devices to help, solve problems that we would do in our coaching. And I would have to recreate all that. I was also concerned about the support. Who's going to take the notes? How am I going to write and make sure they get everything that they need? But, I've been playing with AI for a little bit. And so what we did is I sat down and I mapped the customer journey. What would it be like from the first time I ever talked to somebody until they became a client and ongoing? What would create the most excellent touch points and experiences? And how could I automate that? And using a tool called make.com, some large language models like ChatGPT and Claude, we wound up creating a system where today I just get on a phone call and we talk about a business that started with a SWOT analysis. We broke it down before we got started. We set a plan for the year, broke it into quarters. But I leveraged AI to actually take those calls and extract from it what were the wins, what are the new opportunities, where are the concerns, what's the synopsis of what we're doing in the next week until we meet again, and what are the details, more than just a transcript. We actually wrote our own prompts to create that information in a way we choose to present it.
Yes.
So it's actionable. Drop it into a Notion database, all automated. I don't touch it. I don't have to do anything except read it and review it. Amber, I got to $500,000 a year in less than 90 days, working 5 to 6 hours a week. And that then resulted in creating new partnerships, which today are just absolutely amazing. I'm a partner in a thyroid clinic that we took nationwide over the last 2 years, and we leveraged some of this technology for that. A weight loss clinic, which I'm also a partner in, which is super fun, with somebody I just adore working with. It's just opened all kinds of new doors. We started a little SaaS business too. Some of the struggles that we bump into, it's sort of like, boom, you hit an obstacle and you have two choices. You could say, oh, this is horrible. This sucks. I got screwed. A vendor didn't deliver, whatever the case may be. Or you could do what we do, is say, I wonder if I could ask AI to build a tool to do that for us. And we turn it into a product and monetize it, which we did with a tool called Authority Press. So that's a Reader's Digest. There's a lot of detail there, but here's the thing. It's all about the mindset. And I'm now so pumped because I wake up and I have unlimited intelligent companions on my desktop here, whether that's ChatGPT or Grok or Claude, or pick another model for whatever we're trying to do, that I just get to ask questions. And I very quickly can get to better answers and take action. And in some cases, when it's agentive tools like GenSpark or Manus, I could just have it go do it for me. And so
I think that's so helpful. I mean, you basically just taught us how to create a new business from the ground up, is, just a little bit of value that you're giving here, Karl. That's incredible. You got us thinking in a completely different way about how to use AI to enhance the value that's already inside of us, and how to organize it and streamline it to be able to save time, which is going to give you more of your own creative thinking time. So you're avoiding burnout. I mean, there was so much packed in there. My follow-up question, Karl, is yes, there's stuff going on in the world and we can choose our perspective. Do I see the opportunity in this, or do I think that I'm going to fall flat on my face? We have that choice. Each of us does. And I believe that probably most people listening, especially at this point, are thinking positively. Okay, like there's an opportunity here. I'm going to dig in. I'm going to learn AI. I'm going to learn what I need to know. I'm going to build up my relationships, and I'm going to make this thing, turn around in my favor. I will survive. But then life happens, and it's like you lose your next client, or, that sale that you thought was going to go through didn't, or, you just got the next medical bill that pops in. And, that can be really distracting to your mindset, and it can really derail you. I'm curious, what do you do, or what would you advise your clients or, past members of Mindshare to? What do you do in that moment when something threatens to derail you back into a place of fear or anxiety or just defeatedness?
what an amazing question. That happened to me. Like, what I didn't tell you is that when we did this reset, my wife and I also made a bold decision to actually leave our 5-bedroom home in La Costa, California. We had an estate sale, sold everything, all of it. And we gave it all away to charity, along with our retirement. We only kept $10,000. We had a horse. My wife had a horse, a trailer, a truck to pull it, 2 laptops, and 2 bags of luggage each. And we confidently headed east to Colorado, where you live, and where my son was accepted to Boulder, with the idea that, hey, we'll just videotape that it's possible for anybody at any age, regardless of inflation or interest rates, to restart and build a life they love. And I thought I had a clear vision, and we had mapped out a plan. But along the way, shizzle happens, like you said. It absolutely did to
That
us.
you're watched by it. Yeah.
So one of those things that happened was, I talked a little bit about creating a SaaS company. I paid somebody, the limited cash I had, $5,000, to create the press releases. I wanted to get news articles, feature articles to demonstrate my position in the world. Oh, by the way, I had to think about what my position was going to be. And this is where it got fun. So one of the first things that I did that not only set the frame for how I would position myself in this new future that I was creating, I also used to solve the problem you shared. First, let's talk about how we co-created. ChatGPT had just came out with the ability to have conversations on the app, you may recall, a couple of years ago.
Mhm.
And so I actually opened it up and I said, hey, I want you to act like a career advisor. I want to share my life stories, the things I liked and didn't like, and see if you can help me extract a unique positioning, a through line, my guiding principle that could define this next chapter. And that's how I came up with Hustle Doesn't Scale, and wound
Mm.
up writing a book called Hustle Doesn't Scale, using AI to do that. And there's a story behind that, but positioning myself. And so the whole idea, my big idea, and this is true, like this is who I am, but I never could have, I would have had to go pay a consultant or hired somebody like Janet Atwood or somebody else to extract this from me, or maybe even you, this is what you do. But it was like, who is Karl and what's the value he brings to the world? And why would anybody care? And the idea was, I want to help business owners. My passion is to help business owners get off the hustle hamster wheel, work less, earn more with AI powered teams. To get to that point of clarity and simplicity just took some iterations. Now, when we hit those obstacles, and my first iteration in all of this was to create a very large mastermind, business automation mastery, I called it. I actually shot the whole VSL, all the funnel parts, everything was
That's
done.
a lot of work.
It
Okay.
took a ton of work. And I was ready to barrel down that, but I had this feeling that that really wasn't in alignment with what I wanted to do.
Mm.
I had already picked up some consulting clients that were going really well, and I had to make the decision: do I not barrel into that, full force and consume a lot of time and put at risk a new relationship, which resulted in consulting for equity and enjoying a group of people that I love very much? How am I going to process this? What decisions am I going to make? I went back to the same tool. Hey, help me work through this. Here's my challenge. I need this much cash by this much amount of time. I could get a quick and easy hit this way. But I'd rather dedicate the time that I currently have into this new venture and get it off to the right foot. Help me walk through these decisions and figure out the best course of action. And I went back to ChatGPT that time, but I wasn't happy with the answers. So then I asked Claude what it would do. And I just kept coming back to it. And over time, Amber, here's what's happened. I've been pretty much a solo entrepreneur most of my life, even though I've been around people and helped people and support people. I'm not a social person. I struggle. I have serious social anxiety. Until I get to know somebody, I can't walk into a room and have a conversation with a stranger. I would just as soon die. That's the hardest thing in the world. And I also struggle asking for help. But I don't struggle picking up my phone and having a conversation with ChatGPT. I don't struggle even playing different large language models against each other. And I get an answer over here and I'm like, I don't know if that's any good. I'm going to ask this one what it thinks. And what's been fascinating is I find myself in higher order thinking. I'm really getting out of the weeds, going up higher and higher and higher. And I'm more calm. All my health vitals that track on a watch are better. It's not a panacea. We'll hit an issue, but like in my coaching, it's a great example. I was working with a client that had an obstacle that I'd never addressed before. I'm getting paid $10,000 a month, $2,500 an hour to have calls and solve the problems. What do? I don't worry about that anymore. Like, it just took one of those times to go, I'm
Wow.
just
That's
going
a
to
good
come over
point.
here and ask the model how to do that. So let's talk about somebody. You gave an example. It's a good one. They're worried about where they're going to find their next client. The gold rush that's hitting us right now, the big blue ocean opportunity that's right here upon us for anybody that wants it, is to actually become an AI consultant and build automations for people. Everybody wants this. Nobody understands it. And entrepreneurs that might be listening who, they embrace learning, they love change, they like new and exciting things, they can harness that experience, spend a weekend, honestly, not kidding, learning make.com, which would be a great place to start. Zapier's a tool, a little bit of AI. There's dozens of school groups that cost less than $100 a month where you could binge watch all the videos or just go to YouTube and YouTube University. There are people right now that have had no experience that are just going out and telling people, because they're posting their availability in Fiverr, Upwork, or tools like that, that, hey, if you want to use AI to create content, to do your social media posting, to write your email newsletters, any of these tools are getting $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 gigs. consistently to do that. And the first time they do it for somebody, it's hard and it takes a lot of time and they probably don't make a lot of money. But all of these are templatized. So you could create an automated marketing system like we've done for ourselves. And then you could turn around and sell that to somebody and in less than 1/10 the time, personalize it for their business, rinse and repeat. So I think there's so many opportunities that are coming. If you're at all afraid, just realize this. People make purchase decisions because of two reasons. One, they're afraid. They want to solve a problem. They have a pain point that needs to be solved. If you were to just even ask any of these models, what are people struggling with? What is this? Think of an audience, somebody you'd love to serve. What are they struggling with? Ask the large language models that are current, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Manus, any of these, and it'll give you a list. And then you could say, make me a marketing plan and find me a way to go get 2 customers in the next 2 weeks at $5,000 a piece, and you'll get the whole plan. All you have to do is execute. There's never been a time like this in history where you could virtually, anybody with a brain and drive could start any business they want. And they can have a personal coach, an intelligent companion that'll walk them through the steps. Think back 2 years ago, there was a guy online, he was called Mr. Not Mr. Wonderful, but it was Mr. Grateful. Young man, Mr. Grateful, amazing. He got on and he was an artist, a computer artist. And this whole AI thing happened and he got on Instagram and TikTok and he said, I'm going to leverage AI to be my partner and help me grow a million followers in a brand new account in 30 days. And he did it. And he just walked through the steps and he just told the bottle, you are a social media expert and will be my business partner.
That's amazing.
Right? You'll be my business partner. I will do whatever you tell me to do and instruct, and I will report back my findings from each and every step you tell me. Using that feedback, you and I will make adjustments to the plan daily as I continue to post with the goal of hitting 1 million followers in 90 days. In 90 days, he had 1 million followers, but more importantly, what he played out, he literally built in public. Everybody watched him do it. He showed exactly how it went. And by the end, the guy's getting $30,000 keynotes to come and speak to organizations about what you can do with AI when he didn't even know AI 90 days prior. What's your excuse? Seriously. It's like, what you focus on will expand. Whatever it is that you put your attention into is what you'll find. So put your attention and intention into finding the opportunities, the fun, the joy, the opportunity to be more collaborative and creative with other human beings and less, taxed by the day-to-day activities. You'll be fine. But people don't even need to pay therapists these days. They're literally going.
Well, and that literally pens the question in my mind. I can imagine a lot of coaches and consultants out there thinking, so wait, Karl, you literally just told me that my job is going to be obsolete because now you can use AI to be your business advisor. And what does that mean for me? But then you also said that, your stress levels have greatly reduced because now you can go to AI to problem solve almost any problem that you come up against. And so I think those are 2 interesting points. I'd be curious what else you might want to say to coaches and consultants out there. And the last piece, if you can hold it, is you mentioned collaboration. So is that the way of the future? Is that what we should be focusing our intention on?
Let me ask you a question, Amber. Yeah. You run a business.
I do.
And my guess is from time to time you get pretty busy.
Yes.
So if you had the choice of having someone that you could turn to, have a conversation with for an hour, build the plan, come up with all the steps that you could then forward to a team and delegate, and you could go back and together you'd get that support so that you're making better decisions, so that you feel like you're actually talking to a human. Because I'm going to guess, like all of us, myself included, you don't want to turn to AI for everything. You still need a human in the loop. You need somebody to talk to. So if you had the choice and you could talk to somebody and they could be using the tools, you might even know they're using the tool. They're not holding themselves out as some oracle. They're like, hey, let me go run a report on this and let's come back. I'll take the lead and we'll together come up with the solution and you can give it to your team to execute. Would that be preferred? Are you just going to spend all your time? Because look, it still takes time to prompt the models. It still takes time to determine
Yes.
what's true and what's not true. And it's impossible. Like, look, the average business person, take HVAC, for example. That CEO is spending all of his time just trying to understand what's going on with HVAC. They have so much energy and time into what's working, what new systems are coming out, what new compliance and regulatory issues do they need to deal with, how are they going to hire a workforce. They have so much on their plate that for us, especially the entrepreneurs, the coaches or consultants, we see this as a threat. I guarantee 90% of all businesses out there, they don't even have the time to look at it right now, right? The integration is going to take a period of time. So I would just say this: use the time that you have, that first mover advantage, to establish your authority. Start writing a newsletter. Start posting on social about the changes and focus on a specific niche that you would choose to serve.
Yes.
Because that's the key, is people want to know somebody that know them, like them, understand their unmet wants, needs, and desires, can speak to their pains. There's this thing I learned years ago, and I proved out in personal experience. You talk about physicians, healthcare professionals. We know that if you can articulate somebody's pain in sensory rich language better than they could, they automatically assume you have the solution.
That's true.
So instead of being concerned that there might be another way to get a solution that's easier, faster, cheaper, and doesn't require you, recognize that everybody still wants a human in the loop. And we can look at the efficiency gain from AI in one of two big ways. One way is you could say efficiency equals cost reduction. I get to eliminate staff, eliminate workforce, eliminate cost, and get the same output. There's a lot of people that think that way. It's lack thinking. The other way to look at efficiency would be to say, I can gain a lot of efficiency, which lets me create an even better product, better
Yes.
experience for the same investment.
Yes.
And if you asked 9 out of 10 entrepreneurs that you would choose to work with as a coach, the people you would want to spend time in creativity and collaboration, you'll find they've been dying to make a better customer experience, to create a better outcome, to create a better product. There's more that they want to do. They don't want to do the same for less. They want to take the same investment and do more and increase their margins. That's the thinking that'll get you through any obstacle you think exists today in being able to successfully leverage AI to grow and scale a coaching business.
Karl, you nailed that, my friend. Nailed that. Love that line of thinking. Seriously. That's going to save a lot of entrepreneurs right there, what you just said. I know we're winding down on time, and you know how I feel about you. I could just talk to you forever. So I want to give you just open mic here for a minute. What else might you want entrepreneurs to know as we wind down the episode? Anything else that's on your mind or heart to share? Something that they should be thinking about or doing, or an invitation perhaps? Just anything that comes up.
Yeah, well, as I said earlier, I get it. I've lived through it. I was on the hustle hamster wheel for most of my life. I was raised in the back of my dad's camera store. I was told that if you want to succeed in life, you just have to be willing to start earlier, stay later, and work harder than anybody else.
Right.
And everything will turn out great for you. Bad advice. That sucked. Ultimately, what we really want to do is create the greatest amount of value in the world. It's the person who creates the greatest value that has the biggest impact, that leaves the biggest legacy. And whatever constraint previously existed before AI to your ability to really go deep on a customer experience, to think about new ways to create and add value, is gone. The playing field's been leveled.
Yeah.
There's, I can provide the exact same level of coaching, consulting, reports, strategies, tactics, and analysis as McKinsey can. In fact, I've had clients that have said this is better than they've gotten from, large consulting firms that have charged them hundreds of thousands of dollars. That won't always be that way, but the playing field's been leveled. So I would just encourage you to do this. Take this time and fire up your favorite foundation model and ask it. Say, hey, I want you to help me craft a path for the next period of time. I like 3 years because I think, less than a year, it's too short. 3 years tends to work out just to be about right. And say, I would love to achieve this outcome in 3 years. I want you to help me craft a plan, identifying my unique strengths and weaknesses, the markets that I choose to serve, and the value I want to bring to the world. And let's iterate. And then have the discipline to do two things. Discipline number one, commit to creating that plan, identify who you'd like to be, that means become, things you'd like to do, right? And things you'd like to have in that period of time. And then the second, and what I like to do in that, by the way, this is, okay, quick pivot. This is an amazing exercise. Do this, your life will change. Not exaggerating, super huge. This is what you write down of everything I've told you, because everybody that's actually done this throughout my 40 years of coaching has had the biggest transformations. I can directly apportion the success that people have had who followed this through, and those that didn't don't do this exercise. And with AI, it's so much easier. I want everybody to make a be, have, and do list. Your be list is who you want to become. I want to become a best-selling author. I want to become a world-class coach. I want to become a better dad. I want to be the world's best spouse. I want to become incredibly healthy. Become, it's who you are. And when you put something on that list, it has to be written with such detail that somebody else could know you achieved it when they read it. You can't say, I want to become a better dad, because that's not quantifiable. You could say, I want to become the dad that is always available for my son and daughter, who is present 100% whenever we're together as a family, who, is caring, whatever your list is. Be list. Second list, do list. What are the things that you want to do? I want to spend a month in an Italian.
Heck yeah, sign me up.
Right? I'm going to Tuscany. And I'll
take me, Karl.
We'll go. But what are the things you want to do? I wanted to write a book. That was on my list. I want to be an author, write a book. I want to go to Tuscany. I want to launch a SaaS business. Okay. So I have the things I want to do. I want to get my instrument license as a pilot, instrument rating as a pilot. There's things I want to do. Again, with specific detail that it's clear how you want to do it. And with that detail, by the way, when you'd ideally like to get it done. And then everybody has things we want to have. We want to have a new car. We want to have a different house. We want to have maybe a different body. Maybe I want to have a certain watch. Whatever it is, it's okay to have a material desire. It's not a bad thing. But be clear. And on the have list, write it with such sufficient detail that somebody could go buy it for you. I wouldn't say I want a new car. I'd say I want a 2023 Corvette ZR1 red with the black interior, red stitching. That's specific for $86,950 available from this dealer. I know exactly what I want. Super clear. This is important because it's going to activate your reticular activating system. Once that exercise is done, you do the fun part. And this is where ChatGPT or Claude or any of the models can help you. It's so cool. Write a fictional day in the life, your life, first person story that encompasses your three lists. Mine read like this. The story will be as long as it's required to touch on each of the things. Sometimes it's 24 hours. Sometimes it's a day or two. Here's how mine started years ago. As the clock starts to approach 5 o'clock in the evening, I look outside and see the snow drifting down. The snow flurry is starting to fall, being illuminated by the lights and gently falling on the cars in the parking lot. As I look out into the office, I see people are starting to close up. The sound of desks and chairs being settled in for the holiday that's about to follow, people grabbing their coats, and everybody's laughing, having had a wonderful time at our Christmas party. As I meet them as we're walking out to the cars, I press the button to start up my Lexus ES350. The auto start's an amazing feature. It assures me the car will be warm and my back will be soothed by the warmth of the leather seats as I slide inside. As I get into the car and I start the drive up to my house in, of all things, Boulder, Colorado, when I originally wrote this, the sound of the aspen leaves crunching beneath my feet as I walk across the parking lot, the smell of the air. Christmas is upon us, my favorite time of the year. So that kind of sensory-rich writing, right? You write it so you could smell it, see it, feel it, everything about it. It's called a visioneering statement. But now GPTs can write that all for you. You're going to write that story. And when you're done, then you can go to any of the popular models like LTX Studio is a great one. And you can create a storyboard of what that film would look like. And you can then upload pictures of yourself, your family, your dog, maybe of the car, the house, of things you want. And it will create a mind movie for you and a narrative story that could be read in a voice you'd respect. For me, it'd be Morgan Freeman, or somebody else telling the story. But the goal here is that you write that story, you turn it into a movie, and you watch it every day for 30 days. You keep it in your wallet, you read it every day for 30 days, and you get your entire mind focused on what you want, not on what you don't want. A friend of mine's a race car driver. He placed high in his very first Indy as a young man in his 20s, and at the Indianapolis 500. And he said this one thing that's always stayed with me. He goes, Karl, they teach us one thing when we're driving the race car 220 miles an hour around Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You know what that one thing is?
No.
Never look at the wall. That's how you hit it. You look around the curve. You're always looking ahead to where you want to go. You never look at the wall. You will drive into the wall.
Interesting.
So the visioneering statements that we can create now with AI can give us a clear path to look ahead and around the corners to the things that we most want. And then you take those lists that you put down and you just say, let's prioritize it. If I'm going to have that at the end of 3 years, what am I going to have at the end of year 2 to make that third year possible? If I'm going to be there at the end of the second year, what would I have at the end of the first year to make that possible? Break that year into quarters, the first quarter into months. That's it. The clear vision, held consistently, supported with your intelligent companion in AI, makes anything possible. Don't let anyone tell you different. It costs less than $20 a month to have a paid version of any of these tools. I invest $100. I got 5 of them, right? It's the best investment I've ever made. So do that. You will love it. And share with me what you've done. I would love to see it. You could join. I have a little newsletter called Less Hustle, More Scale. You can subscribe at Less Hustle, More Scale if you're interested in following my story and what I'm doing to work less and earn more. But I'd love to hear your stories too, and find an accountability partner. Just embrace it. Make it fun. Don't chase all the bright, shiny objects. Don't obsess over what's the best tool. Don't worry about opportunity. Find someone you'd like to work with, your ideal customer profile, the people you would like to spend time with. Understand what they are irrationally passionate about fixing. Ask AI how to do it. Do that. Make money. It's that simple.
Outstanding. Karl, you over-delivered for sure. I want to thank you so, so much. And for everybody that is watching on the Elevate series webpage, Karl has been gracious enough to give us an advanced copy of his book, Less Hustle, More Scale. You've got to check it out. And, follow him on social media and really stay apprised of what he is building toward. I know that I will be. And we are back live with the Elevate series in about 20 minutes. So we'll see you again here soon. Thanks again, Karl. Appreciate you.
Thank you.